Alright, so we are showing off a terrain generation using Perlin noise. We have some default settings here. I have a button here that creates terrain. We'll try it out. I have a greenish sort of like leafy naturey color on it right now. We can see it's very chunky, very noise. But if we lower the frequency a little bit, we can see that it gets a bit thinner out. We can play around with the vertical intensity, and it's almost like a meadow or considerably flat. If we throw the vertical intensity way up, it's like this jagged mountainous area. Some of the first vertices might start off very high, so it does not mesh well with others next to it unless there's a lot of very jagged areas next to it. We'll put two more there so it looks a little better. We have buttons here for camera left and right for looking at all the terrains that we've made. We'll throw vertical intensity back down. Throw amplitude up, see what that does. With amplitude here, we can see that the space between the valleys and the mountainous areas have become a lot more prominent, while over here it seems much more chaotic. If we take amplitude way, way down, make some new terrain, you can see that based on the shadows here, it's very subtle because amplitude depends on frequency and how many octaves it's run through. If we put that through a couple more octaves, we might be able to see a greater difference. Oh, that was one too many. Okay, overall, it's hard to tell to my eye, but we're definitely doing something here. Frequency and frequency, vertical intensity are probably the two most notable changes. Persistence is also a big deal depending on what other settings we have. So we'll throw amplitude, vertical intensity back around to 0. We'll turn persistence way, way down. Let's see what that looks like. So with persistence way down, we get a lot less, not necessarily objects, but a lot less individual shapes. The terrain over here is very densely packed. There's like one, two, three, four. There's dozens of little mountain ranges. While when we turn persistence way down, that number seems to decrease into a more realistic amount if it's going to be this high. If we even turn frequency way, way down along with persistence, we can see, yeah, there we go. It's like a hill zone or almost like a mud flat if you're looking at it from very small scale. If we actually turn down the vertical intensity, we can probably get that mud flat look a bit better. Yeah, that almost looks like a choppy water. But if it's very like chaotic and vertical, it's not going to look as realistic for what we want. But we can definitely play around with that. If we put the persistence way up, let's see what we get. Yes, so we put the vertical intensity back down, and the persistence is almost at max. Let's try max, see what that does. So this almost seems to be super zoomed out. If we come back to like these sorts of areas, it's almost as if you had that laid over a grid, but you zoomed way, way out on that grid. This zone or this zone scaled down could be like 1/4 or 1 square of this. We're going to put persistence back down pretty low, because that's where I think that it looks better. We'll play around with frequency. What's the middling frequency look like? So a middling frequency makes this very, very jagged. The frequency that it runs through will have it almost sharp like bladed grass. If we put it really high but not all the way, we should get even more of that effect. Yeah, it's almost like broken glass. We can turn down the vertical intensity so it doesn't look so, I don't know, dangerous. That's almost like a crushed glass. One thing is if we turn the frequency all the way up to a value of 1, it actually smooths it out to an entirely flat plane, as we can see here. And generally, you probably wouldn't want that. That's why we just keep frequency. That would be like 0.98. We're going to throw that way down low. We're going to play around with octaves now. Octaves are how many layers of Perlin noise that we run through. So as a base, the lowest setting here is 2 octaves, and I believe the highest is 12. So we're going to look at the difference between that. Overall, they look pretty much the same because we are running it through such low values here. But if we turn the persistence up a little bit, the frequency up a little bit, have these middling, I'll throw it back down to 2 octaves. We get this kind of looking terrain. And then if we throw it up to a higher amount of octaves, we'll get this kind of terrain. And just as a last piece, let's see what sort of crazy extreme stuff we can make. Okay, that's looking cool. What if it was super amplified and super tall? Alright, I don't want to walk on that. What if that's super short? Alright, what if we had no amplitude, but a lot of height? Alright, no octaves, middling persistence, all amplitude, middling frequency. Yeah. What about all octaves? Yeah, there we go. Alright, and that's a basic demonstration of how playing around with the Perlin noise settings can generate different terrain. We'll take a last overview of what we've generated different sorts of terrain layouts from just playing with these settings. There's a number of different things you could use these for. This might be like some choppy water, as we talked about. This could be mountain range. This almost looks like a grass if you wanted to turn that into a bump map somehow. I like these because they remind me of like a golfing course. And there we have it.